On the news, Senate to give new minimum wage bill quick consideration. Humanitarian Minister Betta Edu meets rescued Gusau varsity students, assures of FG's assistance. And Lagos High Court to deliver judgment on Bolanle Rahim's murder on October 9. Thank you for joining us on News Now. I am Simisola Atigun. The Senate has declared that it would give the expected new minimum wage bill from the executive arm of government quick consideration for improved welfare of workers and industrial harmony in the country. The plan for quick consideration of the bill, when received, was disclosed in a statement issued by the chairman of its Committee on Employment, Labour and Productivity, Senator Dicket Plang. In a statement, Plang assured Nigerians of the 10th Senate and, by extension, the 10th National Assembly of the lawmakers' commitment to improve the living conditions of workers in the country in tackling the high level of poverty. Plang commended the federal government on the proactive actions taken to avert a nationwide strike by workers last week Tuesday, but warned parties involved not to renege on agreement reached. The federal government has expressed concern over the recent abduction of 25 students of the Federal University Gombe in Zamfara State. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, passed the message during a two-day official working visit to commiserate with the state government and the university community and, of course, rescued students of the Federal University Gombe. The minister was in the state to also revalidate the social data of the vulnerable communities and to hand over 40 housing units to IDPs. There are more details in this report. Emotions ran high when the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, met with the rescued students of the Federal University Gombe on Thursday at the official opening and handing over of 40 fully completed and functional houses as a refugee resettlement city project. According to the minister, the 40 units of houses for the onward distribution to internally displaced persons in the state are part of the federal government's efforts to address humanitarian issues. While delivering her remarks, the minister assured the students of improved security and effective humanitarian response to support their recovery process. She promised collaborative efforts with the state government to rescue the students and others still in captivity.
We want to use this opportunity to thank the governor of the state for being proactive and the work he's doing presently to see that the university is secured and those who have been taken and returned back to school. We believe that the state will work harmoniously with the federal government and, of course, with the plans of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that we have security of lives, citizens of Zamfara State.
Governor of Zamfara, Dauda Lawal, commended the federal government and assured of commitment to create a conducive learning environment in the state and do its best to protect the lives and properties of the people.
Responsible government, in collaboration with the federal government, we're doing everything possible to make sure we bring those girls back, inshallah. And we're also putting so many efforts in place in terms of securing the lives and properties of our students in Zamfara State and the entire people of Zamfara State. And this is ongoing. We've had discussion with all the security personnel, and we can assure you that there's going to be a very, very conducive place for our students to learn.
On his part, Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University Gombe said the institution's management was doing all within its ability to encourage students not to be distracted by the ugly incident.
There is no doubt that these sad and painful experiences have caused serious tension and apprehension to our staff and students, thereby posing a threat to the university community. But as a community, Staff and students of the university are forever determined, and we are always determined, and we remain calm and go about our normal activities in the face of this ugly trend.
The beneficiaries of the 40 housing units would also benefit from the federal government's monthly cash transfer to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. Simisola Adigun, TV360 News. In renewed efforts to ensure the safety and security of schools in the country, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has trained a Safe Schools Response Team personnel under the National Safe School Response Coordination Center to tackle attacks on schools in the country. The NSCDC Commandant General Ahmed Audu said the project was a critical component of the implementation strategy of the National Plan on Safe Schools. He made this known at the closing ceremony of the capacity building program for the Safe Schools Response Team in the Southwest held at 2 Division Nigeria Army at Dekunle Fajri Cantonment Ojo in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Awudu, who was represented by the Deputy Commandant General Technical, said the idea was to prevent attacks and provide protection for schools and host communities. A Lagos High Court will on Monday deliver judgment in the case of a former Assistant Superintendent of Police, Darambe Vandi, charged with shooting to death a Lagos-based lawyer, Omobolanle Rahim, on December 25, 2022. The court sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square gave the judgment date on July 13 after the adoption of final written addresses by parties in the suit. Vandi was arraigned on January 16, 2023 on a count charge of murder but pleaded not guilty. Lagos State government alleged that the defendant shot Rahim in the chest on December 25, 2022 at Ajah Roundabout on Lekki Expressway, Lagos State, an offense that contravenes Section 223 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State, 2015. Reactions still trail the Senate's amendment of its standing rule preventing first-time senators from contesting the top positions in the Red Chamber until having spent at least a term. Many critics argue that the rule stands against the fundamental rights of an individual to vote and be voted for. Some have also argued that the rule is being politicized, as Godswill Akpabio defeated Abdulaziz Yari, a former governor of Zamfara State, to become the Senate President of the 10th National Assembly. In an exclusive interview with TV360 Nigeria, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, representing Ekiti South, said the decision by the lawmakers is solely to guide the activities of the Red Chamber.
There should be internal rules and regulations that binding on members for easy and very smooth administration and communication among members in the National Assembly, especially the Senate. So, and it is of the opinion of the majority of the senators that yes, when we get inaugurated, many senators would have just been first timer as legislators, even not having had experience either in the local government or in the state or at the House of Representatives. And then we all know that. And so somebody who has never been to any legislative function, who has never done any legislative activity before, imagine as the Senate President or the Deputy Senate President, means that that person will need to go for schooling, tutoring, and another round of mentoring. So we now deem it fit that whoever we emerge as the Senate President, the Deputy Senate President should have concrete experience.
As part of ongoing efforts to resolve the political tension in Ondo State, the All Progressive Congress APC has ordered a stay of action on moves to impeach the state deputy governor Lucky Ayedatiwa and has inaugurated a reconciliation committee to end the disagreement between the governor and his deputy. Speaking on Friday during the inauguration of the committee headed by the former Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari, APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje emphasized the need to ensure a sound working relationship between the governor and his deputy. He expressed optimism that the members of the committee with vast experience in public service have the wherewithal to achieve the goal. Ayedatiwa is under the threat of impeachment by the House over allegations of gross misconduct and has been served with notice of the allegations leveled against him by the lawmakers. But the deputy governor obtained an order from the Federal High Court in Abuja to compel the lawmakers to suspend the process. The federal government is assured that the health and economic challenges facing the country's adolescents and young population remains a prime concern. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Daju Kacholom, gave the assurance at the opening of the Global Forum for Adolescents in Abuja. Represented by the Special Assistant Jomai Abdullahi, the Permanent Secretary disclosed that the government has identified social and health challenges confronting young persons in the country and is determined to address them.
We are gathered here today to mark the Nigerian national event because Nigeria recognizes the unique place of adolescents in our demographic composition. And in addition, Nigeria also prioritizes the special challenges of adolescent health and well-being. Projected population of Nigerian states, the adolescents 10 to 19 years constitute 22% of Nigeria's population, while young people aged 10 to 24 years constitute about a third, 32% of the population, according to the 2021-2025 National Policy on Adolescent and Young People. Young people in Nigeria are diverse and heterogeneous in terms of social demography, characteristics, health needs, social and health vulnerabilities, hence the need for special attention to this demography.
We need to also strengthen our collective efforts to improve adolescent well-being, which will help them to accelerate in achieving the SDG-related target for adolescents, which means investing in adolescents, investing in our young people in a smart investment way that will be able to address their future within our society as well as the planet.
As Nigeria faces the cost of doing business crisis, a large chunk of the country's 41.5 million small and medium enterprises, SMEs, are adjusting to survive with the current business realities, resulting in a spike in inflation in the nation's economy. This current inflation has resulted in a lack of effective production, making it difficult to obtain materials, resulting in high production costs and rendering SMEs unable to sustain their capitals, as well as necessitating a decline in manpower to stay afloat. Our correspondent, Signe Okafo, completes the story.
Solomon Shogunle is one of the 41.5 million small and medium enterprises, SMEs owners hit by the prevailing economic meltdown, biting hard on entrepreneurs. The managing director of Home Pride Water in Maryland, Lagos, says business owners like him are facing severe challenges, which has resulted in low production due to the spike in inflation lingering in the country.
You can see all the machines, one by one. All of them are working. All of them are in good condition. But it's quite unfortunate. It is because the workers are nowhere to be found again. Why? Because there are no money to pay. They will be asking you, how much can we pay? How much can you pay them? And if you tell them the amount, they will say they can't do the business. And the next thing they go. Some of them have been going out to go and do marwa, to ride marwa. Some of them have gone to, many of our drivers now, what you see them doing is Uber. And if the business is not thriving, what are we going to do?
Nigeria's unemployment rate stood at 4.1% in the first quarter of 2023, a decline from 5.3% in the last quarter in 2022, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. Shogunle said despite this decline, about 80% of his staff have left because of his unsatisfactory salary structure.
I don't know how we are going to survive in this nation now. A lot of people are leaving the country looking for greener pastures. And when those people of SME as well now thinks of going abroad, I don't know then what exactly will become. No matter how small it is, no water factory that will not have engagement of at least 4 people. At least minimum, that is the person who is not doing much production will have at least 4. That is that very person, the owner of the business, at least a driver, at least a packer, then at least a cleaner. At least 4. If the environment is no longer sustainable, if the economical effect is so much on us that such people close down, that means we are talking about minimum of 8,000 people that are thrown out of job.
The poor pay structure has also made it very difficult to replace departing employees.
What we do is contracts. Contract that we mean nobody, no, apart from your cleaner, your production manager, that you beg to stay. You can imagine a graduate, a graduate to say, as a production manager, any 35, 40, 50,000 naira. Will you pray that you send your children to school and spend so much, and after graduating, they come to a business like this, and what they do is just to use this place as a stepping stone to gain knowledge. Immediately they acquire a little knowledge, they'll be writing for employment in other places. And immediately they get, the next thing you see, they go.
Like all business owners in Nigeria, Solomon urges the government to offer incentives for them to compete with foreign-owned businesses. He also emphasized the need for the government to tackle the problem of multiple taxation, making the environment hostile for businesses. Sydney Okafor, TV360, Lagos.
General Manager of the Lagos State Public Works Corporation, Lateef Shomide, has called on residents to take responsibility for road infrastructures in the state. He made the call while on inspection of road repairs in some parts of the state. According to him, the agency is adopting different models in repairing bad roads in Lagos. Shomide also expressed his displeasure on waste disposal and drainages across Lagos. He charged residents in the state on proper waste disposal.
This is a Egbe road where you could see that we're using interlocking paving stones, to solve the problems of this road. And then this one you are seeing is happening across the state. It's as a result of the rainy season that is so persistent. So there is need for us to think outside the box and ensure that we solve the problems of the state. So that is one reason you could see. Normally we're supposed to use asphalt, but because of the weather condition, which is not peculiar to Lagos State alone, looking at the global warming that is happening all over the world, so there is need for us to ensure that we solve the problem of our, of the field sections of our road. So Lagos is below sea level, so we don't, what we're doing here is raising the road. You can see the curbs, the additional curbs that has been put in place to raise the road, so that the surface runoff will be able to drain conveniently and then find its way into Okiafa, bridge there. That's exactly what it is. If you go there now, you see styrofoam. This thing was cleared about a week ago before we started this job, but you could see it's filled up to the brim again. So we have to keep on coming and coming. But at the same time, it is important for our people, the Lagosians, to take ownership of our infrastructures. That's the only way that our infrastructure can last longer.
A break is up next, but still to come. Federal government to kickstart a $617.7 million investment in digital creative enterprises in November. Stay with us for details. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A recap of our stories. The Senate has declared that it would give the expected new minimum wage bill from the executive arm of government quick consideration for improved welfare of workers and industrial harmony in the country. The plan for expeditious consideration of the bill, when received, was disclosed in a statement issued by the chairman of its Committee on Employment, Labour and Productivity, Senator Dicket Blank. We also told you that the Lagos High Court will on Monday deliver judgment in the case of a former Assistant Superintendent of Police, Drambi Vandi, charged with shooting to death a Lagos-based lawyer, Omobolale Rahim, on December 25, 2022. The court sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square gave the judgment date on July 13, after the adoption of final written addresses by parties in the suit. Vandi was arraigned on January 16 on a count charge of murder, but pleaded not guilty. In case you missed any of our news bulletins, for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log onto our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store and Huawei App Gallery. On Facebook or at TV360 Online. On business, Vice President Kashim Shettima has directed the Investment in Digital and Creative Enterprises IDICE team to ensure that the program commences before the end of November. Shettima gave the directive on Friday when the IDICE team updated him on its progress at a meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. He emphasized the importance of the initiative to the federal government's digital jobs drive and said the administration was determined to deliver on its promises to Nigerians.
The Vice President, as the leader of this particular project, is very keen that the promise of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, particularly to the youth, that it is met, the creation of 1.2 million digital jobs. This $617 million project will go a long way to achieving the President's priorities of job creation and economic growth, and particularly inclusivity. One of the major elements is going to have 50% participation by women.
It's a unique opportunity. You know, the Nigerian technology and creative ecosystem has been doing well. It's the best on the continent. I think last year, the entire continent raised about $5 billion US. Nigeria only did 20% of that. And with this funding, what it means is that not only are we going to be a leader in the region, we actually want to be a leader globally. And there's no other way to do that but by investing in the technology startups that are building this solution. So the government is putting its skin in the game to saying we want to support, we want to see more local companies building, and there's no other way to show that support but by putting money down, investing in the companies. I think the Nigerian youth, especially those who participate in the startup ecosystem, are aware of the implication of having access to capital. You can have great ideas, but if you don't have money to back you up, there's absolutely nothing you can do.
The Vice President has given us the marching order that he wants this to start by next month. The IDICE program is actually a $617 million program. The funding, has been concluded with African Development Bank, with AFD, the French Development Agency, and the Islamic Development Bank. BOI also will put in some part of that funding. It will cover the digital area, the creative area, and entertainment area, especially the areas that the youth are interested. So this is actually for the youth.
On the global scene, the United Kingdom, France, and Germany have firmly condemned the terrorist attacks from Gaza against Israel, a sharp spike in violence that has been surging for 2 years. Hamas launched the biggest attack on Saturday in a surprise assault that combined gunmen crossing into several Israeli towns with a heavy barrage of rockets fired from the Gaza Strip. The attack marked an unprecedented infiltration by an unknown number of Hamas gunmen into Israel from Gaza and one of the most serious escalations in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict in years. At least 2 Israelis have been killed. Medical officials say dozens are wounded. In the world of sports, the Nigeria Women Football League Board has launched a series of initiatives that will make the game formidable and impactful in the life of the girl child. At the league's 2023-2024 Annual General Assembly in Lagos, the new board presents its Women Football Rising agenda to the stakeholders. Sports correspondent Jide Olaniran files in this report.
It's all about women football and its future. An all-inclusive meeting with delegates representing the different tiers of Women Football League present to think around the game, attracting huge interest from all stakeholders.
Ensure that the referees are well remunerated at the right time. Ensure safety of the officials. Ensure that the teams are run professionally. And I have no doubt that the board will be run professionally. With those things, people will come to look for the women football, not the other way around, I assure you. Because women football, as I said a few years ago, look where it is today. I said this how many years ago, that's the next big thing, and it's proven so. If you do the right things, women football is very appealing as something to sponsor, something to be a part of.
Riding on the wave of acceptance women football has garnered globally in recent times, the Nigerian Women Football League Board is taking advantage of that to drive a local impact campaign through initiatives like Football and the Girl Child, Sisterhood campaign, He for She campaign, and a class-to-pitch collaboration with sports business institutes.
The whole point of the familiarization tour is to sell this Women's Football Rising agenda. This is the part that you states are going to have to do in this. This is the part that we on the NWFL are going to do. This is the part that corporate organizations will do. This is the part that individuals will do. If you do your part, I do my part, everybody does his part, then the Women's Football Rising agenda will achieve its objectives. So I learned, from my experience with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, that stakeholder engagement is the best, the most efficient way, the most effective way of getting buy-in into whatever change management we are trying to do.
So I think what we take away is the need to rise, make women's football rise higher and higher to heights it's never seen. And that will require different stakeholders from financial backgrounds, financial, commercial, legal, sustainability on our side, and others to redefine and transform what Nigerian women's football would and should be.
Nigeria remains one of women's football powerhouse in Africa, and to compete favorably on the global scene, those who administer the game must pay attention to the domestic growth.
I've been a grassroots person. And I told you earlier, my boss, the Minister for Sports, is a grassroots person. He's a grassroots man. I'm working with him. I want to assure you, you're going to see a lot of difference in grassroots sports in Nigeria.
Barring any unforeseen circumstances, the Women Football League will kick off on November 5th, 2023. Jide Olaniran, TV 360 Nigeria.
Well, that's all on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. See you again.